The U.S. and South Korea have agreed to cut their annual joint military exercises short. The move comes just days after President Trump ordered the drills to be scaled down. He cited his relationship with North Korean leader Kim Jong Un and frustration at South Korea's refusal to join the war with Iran. The exercises, which started on Monday, will now end on Friday, 6 days earlier than planned. For more on this, we're joined by CBS News foreign policy and national security contributor, retired Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster. He also served as national security advisor during the first Trump administration. So I guess, General, the question is, what kind of a message does this send to our allies in the region? The fact that the president touts his relationship with Kim Jong Un, suggesting that it's because Kim Jong Un likes him, that he has not posed a threat. And we know that, yes, he has posed a threat. He's threatened South Korea with nuclear annihilation. So what do you think the messaging is going to signal to our allies?
It's not good, Vlad, and you know, on a number of areas. Hey, first of all, it will be perceived as weakness by Kim Jong Un because he's getting away with quite a lot. I mean, we have to remember, not only does he continue to pose a threat to South Korea and Japan with his missile capabilities, the nuclear weapons program, and so forth, but he is providing about 40% of all the artillery that Russia uses against Ukraine, and has had 15,000, and it still has 15,000, North Korean troops fighting on European soil. So he is a card-carrying member of the axis of aggressors, and he's getting from Russia, about $22 billion in return for this. He's gotten a lot of energy from Russia, and he's got a lot of help with his conventional weapons programs. So it's not a good message. I mean, I know why the president does it, right? I mean, this is not new. In 2017 and 2018, a lot of conversations with him about this. He kept calling these exercises provocative. Somebody had told him that, I think, and it kind of stuck with him. And he has this sense of a lack of reciprocity in the relationship with South Korea. He would often say, hey, they're a wealthy country. They can defend themselves. Why are we defending them? And what he expects is something in return for us, bolstering South Korea's defense. And recently, the South Korean government told him that they didn't want to support what he was doing in the Iran war. So he has this deep sense of and desire for reciprocity. And when he doesn't get it, he responds to that. And I think he really just read the report about the exercise in the paper and said, hey, I don't want to do that. And so I think that's really what happened.
Well, and of course, if you think about letting North Korea have a little bit more of a foothold, that relationship with Iran, as we are embroiled in a war with them, I mean, that is incredibly concerning. But I do want to stay on the North Korea piece. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that President Trump is pushing aides for a meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong Un. Previous meetings during the president's first term failed to produce results.
When you were in the administration.
Right, on denuclearization. Do you think he could be more successful this time?
And General, to be clear, it's not to suggest that the United States was not able to get this done because of who was in the administration. As you say, Kim Jong Un is a dictator, and the idea that he would give up anything is something that would perhaps not even serve him well for his masters in Beijing.
Yeah, President Trump walked away from what would have been a bad deal in Hanoi. So, hey, let's give him credit for that. He didn't sign up for a bad deal, but he still has this great confidence that he can get the deal nobody else can get. But I think the problem is Kim Jong Un's riding pretty high right now. In 2017 and 2018, he was isolated. Maximum pressure was in effect. That's one of the reasons why I think Kim Jong Un started the inter-Korean dialogue, remember, and then had the first meeting in Singapore, the next meeting in Hanoi. That's not the case this time. He doesn't feel as isolated. A lot of the pressure's off of him. And I think he thinks he can get something really big from President Trump because he perceives this kind of weakness in the West, this idea, this narrative that Iran is somehow winning the war, which I disagree with, but there's this idea that the U.S. is weak. So if we enter into that negotiation, what Kim Jong Un will want is he will want the United States to get off the Korean peninsula. He will appeal to President Trump's sense of aggrievement that South Korea hasn't treated him very well and say, hey, in exchange for restrictions on the range of our missiles, right, we will, you please leave the peninsula. That would allow him to isolate South Korea. And I believe what he wants this nuclear arsenal for is for extortion and coercion to reunify the peninsula. He has not a defensive mission in mind, not a deterrence mission, but an offensive objective here with South Korea. He won't get that deal from President Trump, but he's going to try. I think that's what he's going to try to get.
Stark warning there from retired Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster. Sir, as always, we appreciate your analysis. Thank you.
Hey, great to be with you, Vlad. Take care, Kelly.